On Abbott Elementary Season 1 Episode 11, at the start of the episode, Janine receives flowers from one of her students, and Jacob's student compliments his sweater, without roasting him afterward. Both of them wonder what made the students so respectful and studious. While Janine is in her classroom passing back quizzes, she notices a shoe print on one of her desks. Confused, she looks around and realizes that all of the desks in her classroom have at least one shoe print. Once she reaches the teacher's lounge, Janine tells the other teachers, Mr. Johnson and Ava, about the shoe prints on her desk. As it turns out, all of the teachers except for Barbara have found shoe prints on all of their desks. They're all confused, and only Mr. Johnson knows what's going on. He explains that the new trend is called desking, and Ava finds hundreds of videos on TikTok of kids all over the world running and jumping from desk to desk. Melissa wonders if they could get a shoe print pulled up from one of Janine's desks, and Jacob tells them he knows a sneaker guy. The sneaker guy turns out to be Jacob's boyfriend Zach. He's kind, friendly, and black, which shocks Ava. She tells the other teachers not to judge her, since she knows they were thinking it too. Zach is head over heels for Jacob, and kindly reminds him to stay on track during the shoe conversation. He's also a total sneakerhead, and is able to take the shoe print from Janine's desk and figure out the shoe is way too big to be one of her second-grade students. The next day, Zach sends the teachers an email describing the white Nike shoes that the student must have been wearing. Gregory is sure there are only two people who wear them, two students named Stefan and Brianna, who Ava immediately confronts. With the students pulled out of class, Ava sends Jacob and Janine to interrogate Brianna while she and Melissa interrogate Stefan. Neither of the groups of teachers is successful, and the students refuse to snitch. When Mr. Johnson brings them out of the principal's office, they tell the teachers that the desking trend is bigger than all of them. Abbott Elementary wants to be number one in the country, and there's nothing they can do. Altogether, the teachers try to come up with ways to stop their students from desking, except for Barbara, who reminds them it still isn't happening in her classroom. Janine suggests that they simply talk to their students, and Jacob agrees, but the rest of the teachers are convinced it won't work. Janine and Jacob talk to the older students in Janine's classroom, while Mr. Johnson and Gregory watch via FaceTime. While Jacob and Janine explain that teamwork is so much cooler than desking, the kids start cheering, making them think their plan is working great. Unfortunately, minutes later in the teacher's lounge, Zach calls Jacob at work and sends him a video of the students at Abbott desking, while Janine and Jacob were talking and writing on the board. Suddenly, Barbara bursts in, furious at Janine and Jacob for encouraging her students to start desking. Embarrassed and unsure what to do, Janine decides to tell the school board, hoping they'll get the students to stop. In the morning, she realizes the school board has ordered all the desks out of the classrooms and into the gym, creating the most tempting desking challenge ever for the students at Abbott. After finding out why he didn't get the principal job, Gregory has been angry and depressed. After scheming with the other teachers over Melissa's evidence board, Mr. Johnson wrangles him into staking out Janine's classroom to try and catch kids desking in the act. In the custodian's closet watching the classroom through FaceTime, Gregory talks to Mr. Johnson about his life and career. Mr. Johnson has been a model, a custodian, a private investigator, and more, and he advises Gregory that while he may have once dreamed of being only one thing in his life, a dream can be a distraction just as much as it can be a goal. Later, while Mr. Johnson is guarding the gym against hopeful deskers, Gregory asks him what he did when there was a job he wanted more than anything, but he didn't get it. Mr. Johnson explains that if he had stuck with the job he first thought he wanted, he never would have gotten to try all the jobs he ended up loving. Gregory is distracted from the conversation by Janine, giving a speech in the gym, which isn't unnoticed by Mr. Johnson. In the gym, after Barbara finishes dressing down the teachers for trying to relate too hard to their students, Janine announces that she's right. No matter what, they're always going to be nerdy and lame to their students, which is how she's going to stop the desking trend. Janine is going to desk the entire gym, and once the kids see it, the trend won't be cool anymore. Only Gregory is worried she can't do it, and he's right after she immediately falls off one of the desks.